Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, a manhunt in the lower valley after a police officer is shot on duty. Our round-the-clock crew is on the scene with new details this morning. Plus, how El Paso is preparing for a possible case of Ebola in the borderland. Are EMS crews ready?
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
If you are just joining us, a police officer has been shot and the suspect who did it is still on the loose this morning. This happened just before 9 o'clock last night on the 8100 block of North Loop. When the officer was just doing his job, it was a drive-by. Our top story right now, this is the second officer involved in a shooting in less than 24 hours. Round-the-clock reporter Denise Olivas has been working this story overnight and joins us now from the scene. Good morning, Denise. What's the latest out there?
Good morning, Hillary. Well, the spokesman for the El Paso Police Department told us about an hour ago when he was out here at the scene that they wanted to clear this up and have it open for the morning commute. But right now at this hour, it is still closed off. So North Loop east of Yarborough is closed off. Good thing, though, that Yarborough, a very busy street in the mornings, is open. It's just North Loop east of Yarborough that is closed off right now. A few officers still here at the scene, but the police car that was involved in the shooting already has been taken away from the scene. So it looks like they could be clearing out hopefully in the next hour, just in time for that morning rush. Again, Sergeant Chris Mears, the spokesman for the police department, tells us that the officer that was shot is a 2-year veteran of the police department, and he was shot more than once. But the good news right now is that he is in stable condition this morning. What is more alarming, though, is that they are still looking for the suspect.
He or she or they chose to target an officer and not an average citizen walking down the street. Now that shows boldness to be willing to do that to someone that's armed in a part of the day that's crowded out in a crowded area. That shows boldness on this person's part. So that's obviously concerning to us. If someone's willing to shoot a uniformed officer, what else are they willing to do?
Again, Sergeant Mears tells us the officer was conducting a traffic stop just before 9 last night on the eastbound lanes of North Loop, and that's when a vehicle slowed down next to the officer and fired a gun. Several drivers, though, did stop to help the officer while EMS arrived, and as he mentioned, it happened during a busy time of the night here in this area. And Mears says they've already talked to several witnesses, and we spoke with one woman who was in the area when the officer was shot.
It is scary. I mean, it hits home, it's close to home, and it's very, very scary what this town is coming and what this world is becoming.
Again, right now, the search for the suspect is still underway. We still don't have a description of who they're looking for or the type of vehicle that they are looking for, but they ask anyone to come forward with any information to help them in this investigation. For now, we're live in El Paso's Lower Valley. Denise Olivas, ABC7.
Thank you so much, Denise. And now to an update on a story that we brought to you as breaking news yesterday morning. The man who was fatally shot by police has not been identified yet. This happened yesterday morning at the Quality Inn on the 6000 block of Montana. Police say it started when a man threatened a hotel employee with a gun. We know the man was a 22-year-old Hispanic. When the man threatened police with a gun, he was shot by 3 officers and died on the scene. This is what some of the hotel guests had to say.
Well, this is hard. I mean, it's just traumatic. But there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's everywhere, and unfortunately, it's everywhere.
Well, I knew there were gunshots, but I was surprised. I thought maybe he was out in the street, and I heard like a holler, but I couldn't make it out.
As for the officers involved, here's what we know. 2 of them are 6-year veterans of the force. 1 has only been with the department for a year. All 3 have been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. Well, let's talk weather now. We're still under a first alert. Some people got some really heavy rain last night. We had quite a few comments this morning, Crystal. Some people saying it was the worst that they've seen for years.
Yeah, we did definitely see some storm activity that was strong in areas. It was mostly focused over West El Paso right as we moved sunset time. As it hit the Franklin Mountains and moved west, it was West El Paso that got the brunt of that activity. It almost looked like a wall of rain in some areas. I can tell you from looking afar. I was over in central El Paso when I was checking it out. Now we are under much better conditions for your morning. Still under your first alert, though, and here is why. We still have plenty of moisture in place, and while the rain currently is off to the east of our viewing area, later on today we will again have the potential for some rain to move through. A few of those rain cells strong enough to dump down heavy rain, which may affect especially your commute home as you are driving. That is why we've left your first alert in effect to warn you of the potential for some areas of heavier rain. 58 is your temperature currently outside in El Paso with winds just 6 miles per hour. Winds are even lighter in Las Cruces with a temperature of 54 degrees. Like yesterday, it'll be a cool one below average with those temperatures only warming back into the low 70s. We'll look at your forecast highs coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Crystal. Just some breaking news now this morning. Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for the killing of his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. Pistorius killed Steenkamp on Valentine's Day last year, shooting her through a closed bathroom door in his home. Pistorius says the shooting was an accident after mistaking his girlfriend for a nighttime intruder. Some people think that that's too light of a sentence. We'll have more on that throughout this next hour. Well, we are learning more today about the 3 people who were killed in 2 separate crashes over the weekend. Both crashes happened on Sunday at around 5:45 p.m. El Paso sheriff officials say the driver of an SUV was speeding on I-10 West near Eastlake. That's when he lost control and slid right into a truck that was stopped on the shoulder. The driver of the SUV, 37-year-old Cesar Apodaca, and his passenger, 34-year-old Melissa Apodaca, both died on the scene. No one was inside that parked truck that was hit. And police have identified the woman who was killed Sunday morning on I-10 near Vinton. She was 56-year-old Sonia Enriquez. Investigators say she cut off another vehicle, and when she tried to return to her lane, she overcorrected and rolled her vehicle several times. Enriquez died on the scene. Authorities say she was wearing her seatbelt. The time is 6 minutes after 6. Here's a live look at traffic. This is US 54 in Montana. Looking good, nice and clear. I-10 as well. No problems on the interstate to report right now. Well, we are following the latest on the Oscar Pistorius case. As I mentioned, his sentencing. Pistorius' defense team is saying the 5-year sentence is too much. Others are saying it was too light. That story coming up in more detail. Also, there's been a massive recall of nearly 5 million vehicles because of a potentially deadly airbag defect. We'll let you know what exactly that's all about coming up and if you need to be worried. Also, meteorologist Crystal Clyde has our complete forecast. Good morning.
Good morning. Still forecasting rain around our region. We'll track where has the best chance and what that storm system will be doing in the days to come. It's after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.
You're watching ABC 7's Good Morning El Paso with Hillary Floren, Bob Hart, Storm Track weather meteorologist Crystal Clyde, and live reports from Denise Olivas.